Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Rep. Escamani, for bringing us back and focusing on what matters in this conversation and for reminding us that we all care about national security, regardless of whether we sit in this chamber, regardless of whether we wave the blue flag or the red flag. We are all Americans and we all care about national security. And I'm going to tell you why unintended consequences matter. In this building, with the work that we do, we don't always get the warning that there are bad unintended consequences in a bill, but we have them here. And so I'm going to tell you, if you intend on marching forward, you're not only ignoring the unintended consequences, you are doubling down. Let me share concerns specifically about the bill. I'm concerned that this bill commits national origin discrimination. And I know there's been a lot of talk about WeChat groups and the Communist Party of China whipping people up into a frenzy. Let me tell you something about me if you don't know. I am a Harvard and Georgetown educated lawyer. I can read a bill. And I don't need anybody telling me what a bill says. I can do that on my own. And I'm here to tell you that regardless of what anybody said outside of this building, that bill has national origin discrimination. There is no definition of what it means to be a member of the Chinese Republic of China. There's no definition. As best I can tell, it probably just means being a Chinese citizen. I asked the bill sponsor yesterday for a definition. There was none. There's none in the bill. They couldn't provide an answer. I asked whether it's possible to be a legal permanent resident of these United States and also be a member of the Republic of China, and the answer was yes. That lets you know automatically that there's discrimination in this bill on national origin. The bill sponsor admitted yesterday that it's possible to be both. There's no definition of domicile. I asked for a definition of domicile. None in the book. Was told to look to federal law. But the reality is we're passing state law. We don't know whether to look to federal law, if there's another definition we should look to in Florida law, or do we look to common law, what the courts have said. There's no definition of domicile. It violates the First Amendment right to the freedom of association. We talk about what makes America great. Yeah, our military might is part of it, but I'm here to tell you that our Constitution is the other part of that. And if we're willing to go back on our Constitution that we proclaim in this building so much and so frequently than we love, then we are no better than the countries of concern that we have put in this bill. What makes us different is that we are a nation of laws, of the rule of law, and that no one is above the law. But let me tell you, nobody's beneath it either. The affidavit and registry violates the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. We've had governors of this state that have used that Fifth Amendment right, so I know y'all are all familiar with it. We see it in movies. You know what the Fifth Amendment right is. There's no enforcement mechanism. We asked about that yesterday. Who is going to enforce this? Realtors? You're going to make them have to put their license at issue and punish them with criminal penalties if they sell to somebody who happens to come within the purview of this bill? How are they going to enforce it? Ask people who they think might have Asian characteristics whether or not they are. Come on. We are better than this. My mom always said, she would always tell my sisters and me that you could either do things fast or you could do them right. Sometimes it's very difficult to do things fast and right. And I think with this bill, we're moving too fast and we need to slow down. I appreciate the bill sponsors, both in the House and the Senate, and the Speaker being willing to have conversations about the bill that the Texas Senate recently passed, which has language that, while it's not perfect, avoids a lot of this national origin discrimination that we are also very concerned about. And I think we need to take a pause and really take a look at that bill and see if that would be a better move. And if we're not willing to do that this session, that's okay, members. We'll be right back here in September and in January, and we can do the right thing then. I just want to go back to the point that I was making about the group chats. And I know there have been group chats. There were protests all across the state of Florida. This would have passed without any problem if only people had kept their mouths shut. Let me tell you something. It's possible for two things to be true at the same time. It's possible for people to march and whip up into a frenzy, and maybe those people don't have the best intentions. I don't know. And it's also possible for this bill to have discrimination built into it, and it does. And you've received the warning. You've received the warning. Put aside the emotion. I'll even bring my tone down. Put aside the emotion. Take a look at the bill, at the plain text. We have to ask ourselves, I know in this chamber we don't have, I don't think, any Chinese American representation in terms of a member, but we have to always be asking that question, who else should be a part of the conversation? And if they were here, what would they say? And I think they might just encourage us. They might just encourage us to stop. We cannot do this on the backs of the Asian American community. We cannot do this on the backs of Representative Ana Eskamani and her community. Members, I ask you, or the Cuban community, members, I ask you to please vote down. Thank you.